Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to live coverage of Clover Cup 2018, or 2018 is what I've been hearing. We are heading into our penultimate game of the tournament. I'm Scarlett O'Hurtya.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And we are about to see the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls face off against the Dallas Derby Devils for the third place trophy at this weekend's tournament.
That's right. We've seen both of these teams come through the tournament. They've already played 3 games this weekend, including one game earlier today for each of them. So the story so far: on Friday, Dallas defeated Calgary. On Saturday, they lost to Mad Roland Dolls. Then they had to defeat Calgary again this morning to get to here playing Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain, our number 1 seed, lost to Sacramento Roller Derby on Friday. Went on to defeat Charm City and Houston, now here in the battle for third place.
Now going into this tournament, as Rosetta Stone mentioned, Rocky was seeded as number 1 and Dallas as number 2. So this is a somewhat likely final situation for these two teams, just based on how they came into the tournament. But they've both had to fight very hard, both dealing with some shifts in their rosters, and you've seen that throughout the tournament here. I'm really curious to see how they shift based on the outcomes of their games today, because the point spreads for both of them were not as extreme as we've seen earlier in the tournament. Now, that may just be because they were saving people for this particular game with the anticipation they'd be playing for third, or it could be that they're just tired. They played a lot this weekend. Who knows? So I'm curious to see how they adapt to the different styles of play that they've been dealing with throughout the tournament.
I agree with that, Scarlett. And one of the things we've seen a lot from Dallas in particular is running the pack, whipping them up, and going fast. So is that going to work for them against Rocky Mountain? We're going to find out. And the game has begun. Mars Furiosity jamming for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. We have Jet, number 5, for the Dallas Derby Devils. Jet currently getting drawn back to the pivot line. Mars Furiosity, your lead jammer in this jam. Mars Furiosity now drawn back by Juicebox of Dallas Derby Devils.
Nice little check there on Mars Furiosity. And in their prior game today, Mars Furiosity, one of the top point scorers for the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls.
Jet was the first to emerge from the pack, although she was not a lead jammer. Rocky Mountain's coach signaling Mars Furiosity to call off the jam. No points on the board for either side.
Now, this is something that we saw with Rocky a lot in the first game. Their first game of the day was that really quick call off. You know, the minute the other jammer exits the pack, you call that off. Don't risk them getting even a single point. And we see how solid that defensive strategy is right now. Both teams 0-0. We're heading into jam number 2.
That's very true. And we have Bazooka Bubble Bum jamming. She's your lead jammer for Dallas in her game earlier today. Very strong lead jammer percentage. Finished the game around 75%. I'm expecting to see more of that effectiveness from her here in this game against Rocky Mountain.
So similarly, Harper Bazaar, the one that is jamming for Rocky right now, was a very frequent jammer for the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. But one thing we saw from her was lots of star passes, especially when May Q Pei was anchoring as the pivot for them. And we see that again right here, her first jam out of the gate, handing off that star to May Q Pei. And we have a cutting the track penalty called.
Looks like Bazooka Bubble Bum now in the penalty box on that cutting the track call, but there was some confusion. May Q Pei looking at the officials, wondering if it was her. May Q Pei, though, still on the track, looking to score some points, get on the board.
Really beautiful apex jump there by May Q Pei. Didn't quite stick the landing, actually kind of sat on her foot there for a second, which that's always uncomfortable to watch because it's uncomfortable to do.
It is.
But May Q Pei manages to spring back up from that little stumble and is now having to re-enter the pack after being sent out of bounds.
Looks like, I think that's Assault and Peppa was doing some offensive work for May Q Pei. May Q Pei, however, still caught up with Dallas. I see Planet of the Skates in there holding down the Rocky Mountain Jammer. Bazooka Bubblebum now on the track, looking to score. She's already scored 4 points in this jam before the penalty. She dips around the outside in turn 2, and I don't see points in the air, but there are points on the board.
Indeed, there are 8 so far for Bazooka Bubblebum on that jam. Looks like Rocky's going to put a handful on the board as well. So the score is currently 9-5, Dallas in the lead as we head into jam number 3. And you know, Rosetta, we were so excited to talk about how this game was going to compare with their last games today, or their previous games today, I should say, that we didn't run through the rosters. So with this timeout, we're going to go ahead and do that.
Let's do it.
From the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls 5280 Fight Club, 01 is Dicky, 0260 Motorbutt, number 10 Roxy Rotsalot, 13 Jersey Whirl, 203 Mars Furiosity, 215 Sylvia's Wrath, 31 Fiona Grapple, 317 Flip Her, 617 Harper Bazaar, number 68 Morphined, number 80 Rippin' Rooster, 86 Assault and Peppa, number 88 She Who Cannot Be Named, 901 Violet A. Salts, and number 99 May Q Pay.
All right, your Dallas Derby Devils Army of Darkness in the white. Today we have number 101 Acute Pain, 1010 Bazooka Bubblebum, 112 Planet of the Skates, 1229 Juicebox, 127 Mrs. Hercules, 138 Anita Riot, 235 Guillotine Grace, 3820 K Carnage, 420 Rocky Roadhouse, 5 Jet, 52 Fisher, 82 Myth America, 841 Sweeping Booty, 9 Bailey Wheat, and 999 9 Mil Nancy.
Perfectly timed, if I do say so myself. Again, Dallas in the white and Rocky Mountain in the black. Out now in jam number 3 on the jam line. That is Rippin' Rooster jamming for Rocky Mountain. But your lead jammer for Dallas is Bailey Wheat.
Bailey Wheat coming on along the track. Rippin' Rooster still trying to get past that last blocker. Believe that is Juicebox.
Juicebox, a one-woman wrecking crew, sending Rippin' Rooster to the outside here at turn 3. Meanwhile, Bailey Wheat almost taking a bit of a hip whip off of the opposing blocker there.
Yeah, Bailey Wheat moving back and forth, trying to stir up that tripod and get them to make a mistake so she can get through.
So it looks like 5 points for Bailey Wheat on that last jam. Rocky held scoreless. I apologize, that was 8 points on that jam, not 5. I can count fingers that referees are holding in the air, I promise.
We'll get through this, Scarlett.
Rather important job. However, I would not want to be a ref or an NSO because that's a lot of pressure to make sure that you're doing everything precisely right. And speaking of precisely right,
unlike announcing,
she actually got 9 points on that one, not 8. Thanks, scoreboard. Back to the action on the track. Who's jamming Rosetta?
That's a good question. The jammers are obscured by a giant pack of officials, but the information is actually in front of me. Mars Furiosity for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, K Carnage for the Dallas Derby Devils.
Mars Furiosity, part of that very tight jammer rotation that Rocky was running earlier today. Mainly a 3 jammer rotation. I see they've thrown Dicky into it, but that was when she was a pivot, so a little bit of difference there. And Dallas sticking with that 4 jammer rotation, and Dallas has 2 jammers with 100% lead percentage. Overall, they've got it about 50%, Rocky Mountain with 20%.
I see Dallas coming in for the offense to help out K Carnage through the pack. K Carnage comes through. She is your lead jammer. Mars Furiosity now colliding with the Dallas pack. Number 5-2 Fisher working to hold onto her.
Mars Furiosity now has the helmet cover in her hand, trying to sneak through that pack and manages to get through, now eligible to score points. But in the meantime, K Carnage put 5 points on the board on her first scoring pass.
Pack is speeding up coming into turn 2. Looks like Rocky Mountain trying to get away from K Carnage and buy Mars Furiosity some time. Does not pay off. Looks like 1 more point for Dallas in that jam. Current score 5-25. Dallas leading by 20 points.
Every point counts, even those little 1 point passes. It was a total of 6 points for the jam. So Dallas at 25 and Rocky at 5, as Rosetta said. We are heading into jam number 5. For those of you just tuning in, this is Clover Cup 2018, live from the NYTEX Sports Center here in North Richmond Hills, Texas, hosted by the Dallas Derby Devils. I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And who do we have jamming now?
That looks like Jet for Dallas Derby Devils, and I believe that is Harper Bazaar for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls.
Indeed, it is.
Jet skipping along the inside, going back and forth, trying to break up that tripod. Harper Bazaar currently hit to the infield, coming back around behind the pack. Looks like a penalty sending one of Dallas's blockers to the box. Both jammers now out of the pack, but it is Jet who is your lead jammer.
They're off to the races. Jet and Harper both neck and neck, only about 10 feet apart from each other.
You can see the pack speeding up, and this is something Dallas has done all weekend long. When the jammers are out, they choose to pick up the pace, try to make some space for their jammer to get through. They're counting on their jammer to be faster than the opposing jammer.
Now, I got to say, with that strategy, I hate to say I pity refs, but that is extra hard on those outside pack reps because they have to keep up with that fever pitch and still be able
lane, really.
Exactly, and still have to maintain their composure and make sure they're being accurate and in position where they need to be. So, yay for cardio.
More
now,
reasons I'm not a ref.
Into jam number 6, we have Acute Pain jamming for Dallas and Rippin' Rooster for Rocky Mountain.
Both packs starting with those tight tripods off the line.
Very separate packs, and now we have an offensive assist by Dallas attempting to break up that Rocky Mountain formation right before turn 1, right after the pivot line. And Rocky's still doing a good job of holding back Acute Pain even with that offensive assist. Meanwhile, Rippin' Rooster trying to fight through that Dallas tripod in the front, gets shoved to the infield and is forced to recycle back about 20 feet.
That's right. We still have no lead jammer. We're about 45 seconds into this jam. Each team has sent an offensive player to try to break up the pack, but the blockers are just reforming and hitting the jammers out over and over again. I see Planet of the Skates in particular whipping back and forth, anchoring that tripod. Looks like Rippin' Rooster finally free of the pack 1 minute into this jam. She is the lead jammer.
So that's something we're seeing Rocky do quite differently than they did in their first game this morning against Houston. They were previously making their jammers fend for themselves. They weren't really offering a lot of offensive assistance. But it seems to be working for them here. I wonder if they're going to latch onto that strategy. They grabbed 4 points on that jam and closed that point spread just a little bit. 25-9, Dallas in the lead. 20 minutes left in the first half. We're heading into jam number 7.
Right, and it's like you said, it's a matter of picking away at the score. You need to get points without losing your own. If you have anything to say to us, you can talk to us on Twitter. We're watching the hashtags Clover Cup 2018 and the hashtag talk, the number 2, WFTDA. So if you have a comment or would like to have a question answered about this game, tweet us.
We're also fans of cat pictures, dog pictures.
Send us your cats.
Yeah.
The game is back on. Bazooka Bubble Bum in the star for the Dallas Derby Devils up against Mars Furiosity.
So Mars Furiosity, one of the top point scorers in their previous game today. However, today she has yet to score for Rocky. She's now out of the pack and is your lead jammer for Rocky.
She may have yet to score, but the game is young, and it looks like she is going to have an opportunity to put a few points on the board in this jam if the defense doesn't foil her plans.
So Bazooka Bubble Bum still trapped in that pack, and Rocky falling back on a defensive formation that was pretty solid for them earlier today, that box formation, but a beautiful offensive assist there by Guillotine Grace. Totally broke up Rocky Mountain's box and made it possible for her jammer to get through, and then that forces the call off by Mars. She grabs 3 points before calling it off, and our score is currently 25-12.
Looks like Rocky Mountain is going to change up their jam rotation, putting in number 88. She who cannot be named to jam in the next turn around the track. We have Bailey Wheat for Dallas Derby Devils.
Bailey Wheat, another huge playmaker in Dallas's first game of the day. And she shows why. Out in front, lead jammer before the pack can even hit turn one.
Pack still now in turn one, holding on to She Who Cannot Be Named.
She Who Cannot Be Named has removed the star cover from her helmet with an attempted star stash.
I just saw some really effective offense from Planet of the Skates, breaking up that tripod, pushing the brace out of the way, making way for Bailey Wheat.
Bailey Wheat grabbing a handful on that first scoring pass, and Dallas goes on the offensive.
Got a no pass, no penalty. Bailey Wheat did go out of play, but so did her assailant.
And She Who Cannot Be Named actually sitting in the penalty box currently as the jammer. So this will be a power jam start for Dallas.
Current score heading into this power jam, 12-34. Dallas leading by 22 points. We have about 17 minutes left on the first period.
Very lively music being played here at the NITEX Sports Center. We're kind of dancing along in our seats. And dancing on the track, that is number 5 for Dallas, Jet, who is donning the star.
Jet again with the footwork and the agility, getting her out of the pack. We saw that this morning from Jet. Very talented on her feet, and it's definitely paying off in points.
Oh, very nearly stayed in on one skate, but at the end there trips and is forced to recycle. Meanwhile, She Who Cannot Be Named is making her way around the track, is now on a scoring pass, and Jet knows it, calls it off.
I don't blame her.
Looks like Dallas did manage to grab a couple points before calling it off. Grabs 4 specifically, widening that point differential.
For the next jam, we've got Harper Bazaar lined up for Rocky Mountain. Looks like that is Kay Carnage for the Dallas Derby Devils.
Now, Kay Carnage in her previous jam for Dallas grabbed 6 points. She's got a 50% lead jammer status acquisition percentage. And Harper Bazaar has been punching her time clock here today as well. This is her 3rd jam, but she has only gotten a couple of points, I believe. I don't know if my stats that I'm looking at right now are 100%.
Well, Rocky Mountain
accurate.
only has 12 points on the board right now, so it may only be 1 pass worth of points from Harper Bazaar. Kay Carnage, your lead jammer, out of the pack now on a scoring pass. Looks like Harper Bazaar has passed the star to pivot Fiona Grapple.
And that's something we did see Rocky use quite a bit in their previous game, especially Harper Bazaar. It's almost like she's a placeholder. She, rather than racking up the points herself, she would rather try and trick people and hand it off to the pivot. Make You Pay typically is the one that is on the receiving end of that, but we did see earlier Fiona Grapple grabbing that star a couple of times as well. So looks like 2-3 points for Dallas on that last jam, 41-12. We're heading into jam number 11 here in the first half. Rocky Mountain Roller Girls fielding Bazooka Bubble Bum as the jammer, and Rippin' Rooster. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say Rocky? I meant Dallas. My bad. They have the
We'll
same
get
colors.
through
They're all
this.
red, black, and white.
That is true. Bazooka Bubble Bum for Dallas, now out of the pack as the lead jammer.
Rippin' Rooster, the jammer for Rocky, still trapped in that pack, which is really spread out at this point and starting to pick up the pace. Rippin' Rooster out of the pack and eligible to score points.
Rippin' Rooster took a whip out of the pack, and that delights me. Speeding around the track now. Bazooka Bubble Bum looking for the points, ending the jam. It looks like she's received 4 points. Kept Rocky Mountain off the scoreboard.
We just don't see enough whips these days, but that's actually like the 3rd one I think I've seen this weekend. So I think they have their place, and
It's coming back.
yeah, bringing it back. It's vintage derby. But with that being said, we have a team timeout called on the track by Rocky. This timeout is brought to us by
Our sponsor, ProDesigned. ProDesign manufactures world-class custom knee pads, elbow pads, and wrist guards for your protective needs. Visit ProDesign.com to order yours today. I will say on the Twitter here, Scarlett, you have a fan. We have at, I don't know. No, don't read it. Yeah. Okay, well, Scarlett has a fan. Best announcer ever, according to people on the Twitter. You can tweet us at Clover Cup 2018.
Use a hashtag Clover Cup
yes.
2018. I don't know that we have anybody manning a designated Twitter account, but we are checking the hashtags.
I am checking the hashtag. I just forgot what the symbol was called for a brief moment. Hashtag pound symbol Clover Cup 2018. Hashtag talk the number 2 WFTDA. I have Twitter open in front of me.
And for those of you watching at home, I'm Scarlett Hurtia.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And we are excited to bring you the penultimate game of the weekend. One more left to see who goes home with a trophy and who goes home empty-handed, I should say. Out now on the jam line for Dallas in the white, Bailey Wheat, and for Rocky in the black, Mars Furiosity. Although saying that they're in the back is actually accurate as well, because Bailey Wheat has now jumped out in front, and she is your lead jammer for Dallas.
That's true. Mars Furiosity taking a swipe at her as she passes for the jammer lap point. That's a high 5 points for Bailey Wheat. Looks like the pack is jostling for position, trying to figure out how best to hold back Bailey Wheat. Mars Furiosity must have the cap in her hand because I don't see it on her head. I see the pivot reaching out. Mars Furiosity looking for that star pass because she has not been able to get out of the pack. Meanwhile, Bailey Wheat has scored 10 points in this jam, engaging with the pack, so about to score more points. A star pass by Mars Furiosity, going to send off Fiona Grapple now as the jammer for the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. And, of course, Bailey Wheat ends the jam. That was a 14-point jam for the Dallas Derby Devils. Current score 12-59, 43 points separating these two teams. It's been a little while since Rocky Mountain has put points on the scoreboard here.
It has. It's been a minute. And I want to say that, the star passes are something we anticipated Rocky would utilize going in, but we've seen 3 from them so far and 0 from Dallas. So very different strategies right out of the gate here. And now we have different jammers out on the line. Jet jamming for Dallas, and she has lead. Harper Bazaar, your jammer for Rocky, is still tangled up in that pack, trying to get past Juicebox.
I'm wondering here if what we're seeing is the Rocky Mountain Jammers in particular just being tired. They already played a game today. Rocky Mountain doesn't seem to have as deep of a jammer as a jammer bench as Dallas maybe, or maybe Dallas is just used to skating a ton.
Well, I don't know if it has to do with them being tired or just adjusting their strategy so much. Dallas tends to run a little bit at a faster clip, and Dallas played more recently. Rocky played the first game of the day today, so technically they've had a couple extra hours of rest in between, but I think these are both very capable teams with very capable jammer rotations, and we can see that right now out on the track. Kay Carnage donning the star for Dallas, Rip'n Rooster jamming for Rocky.
That's right, both jammers working hard. Looks like it is Kay Carnage with the lead jammer status out of the pack. Looks like another star pass for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. Rip'n Rooster handing it off to number 31, Fiona Grapple, once again. But once again, Dallas calls off the jam before that pivot turn jammer can come back around and pick up any points.
64-12 with under 11 minutes left here in the first half. We're heading into jam number 15 with 2 familiar faces out on that jam line.
That's right. We've got Mars Furiosity jamming for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, Bazooka Bubblebum for the Dallas Derby Devils. Bazooka Bubblebum, one of our high scorers. She's got 16 of Dallas's points. It's the second highest scoring jammer in the game right now, following only Bailey Wheat, who has 32 points to her name. Looks like Mars Furiosity, our lead jammer, is a much-needed lead jammer status for Rocky Mountain. Bazooka Bubblebum fighting out of the pack. Unfortunately for Mars Curiosity, once she got that lead status, she got eaten back up by the pack. She calls off the jam to prevent Bazooka Bubblebum from gaining any points.
She was really thinking about that one after the call. You could see her coming off the track, sort of, I think, questioning herself a little bit. But you got to do what you got to do when you're under pressure. Keeping the other team from getting points is just as important as scoring them yourself. So
I agree with that, Scarlett. And at this point, Rocky Mountain has to consider both sides. They do need points, but it's not going to help them to get points if they let Dallas earn more points while they're doing it.
Out to the jam line, Jet in the white for Dallas and Harper Bazaar jamming for Rocky.
Jet jumping back and forth, juking her way through that pack to become your lead jammer.
Turn 2 seems to be where we see a lot of those breakaways happening, where they're really escaping the pack and especially grabbing that lead jammer status. And that's also a handful of times we've seen Jet fall in that turn specifically.
It's a slippery turn.
It's
That's interesting, though, that we're seeing a lot of turn 2 breakaways, because in a lot of Derby, it's turn 1. We come into the turn, kind of lose sight of that inside line, the jammer breaks away. But it's a bit of a testament to the defense and the maturity of these players that they're making it through the first turn into the second.
Jet also a very hoppy jammer. And I don't mean that in the beer way. I mean that she is literally hopping like a bunny rabbit around the track. And, I mean, it seems to be working for her thus far. And unfortunately for Jet, she was not able to break out of the pack on another scoring run, but she did grab a grand slam. And as the lead jammer called it off as soon as Harper Bazaar exited that pack. So Dallas remains in the lead, 69-12, under 8 minutes left in the first half.
And I would say Dallas is being really smart with their call-offs, because Jet knows, like, for example, in the last jam, she would have to come all the way around. They would need to hold Harper Bazaar until she came back around. So they're conserving their time to score more points.
Rocky defaulting back to that box formation. And Dallas's jammers have been able, without an offensive assist for the most part, been able to kind of skirt around the outside. But right now, Dallas throwing an offensive player into assist and then having them fall back into their own tripod with a floater. Look at this. Acute Pain is out in front. Your lead jammer, after not shrugging off, she took a hit like a champ but managed to stay in bounds and ran away with it.
That's right. Acute Pain now getting ready to score some points. Rip'n Rooster has exited the pack, but Acute Pain gets her points and ends the jam. We're seeing a lot of small point jams, if you will. So, like the points per jam average, Bazooka Bubblebum, 4 points per jam. K Carnage, 3.7 points per jam. Not a lot of big jams. Dallas is playing carefully and maybe even methodically, just getting the points, ending the jam, getting in there, doing the work of roller derby.
Bailey Wheat donning the star for Dallas, and Morphine out for Rocky. This is Morphine's first time to wear the Jammer Star in this game, and I think we're about to see another one of those Rocky star passes as the helmet cover has been removed. Now, Rocky has also done a few star stashes, so let's see how they move forward with this one. Meanwhile, Bailey Wheat is your lead jammer for Dallas.
Looks like Morphine decided to take advantage of the confusion. She's out of the pack with Star back on her head, but unfortunately, no points scored for the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. Another 5. Looks like a high 5 for Dallas Derby Devils. Current score 12-77. Dallas leading by 65 points with 5.5 minutes left in the first half.
And we've only seen a lead change once here in the first half. Dallas has largely run away with the score since the beginning. Rocky has not scored in the last 14 jams.
That is not the greatest statistic to hear for a team trying to win a game. I will say that. So what we need to see, in the next 5 minutes and the next half for Rocky to turn this around, points on the board. Dallas Derby Devils are mostly getting that lead jammer status, and once they get their points, they end the jam, making sure that Rocky Mountain's not getting any points. We need to see Rocky Mountain getting out of the pack faster to get the lead jammer status so they can start to control the flow of the game.
Yeah, we do have a team timeout on the track called by Dallas. This team timeout was brought to us by
Anabolic Skate. Anabolic Skate Company, train to reign.
Best commercial ever.
Short and sweet.
Moving on to the action on the track, Bazooka Bubble Bum wearing the Jammer Star for Dallas. And Mars Furiosity once again jamming for Rocky. Mars Furiosity running on that inside lane, right inside the boundary before getting taken out to the infield right at the apex.
She was very close to freedom, but unfortunately, like you said, Scarlett, taken to the inside, almost out again on her toe stops, but again getting knocked out, has to come back around into that hazardous second turn.
Well, that hazardous second turn proves to be rather fruitful for her, as it gives her the opportunity to break away from that Dallas pack, and she grabs lead jammer status.
Mars Furiosity actually in a power jam. Bazooka Bubble Bum has been in the penalty box. She's coming out right now, but it did give Mars Furiosity the opportunity to get lead jammer status. She's on her scoring pass right now. Hopefully Rocky Mountain's defense can hold on to Bazooka Bubble Bum long enough for Mars Furiosity to pick up more than a few points.
Well, and because Mars is now on her scoring pass and Bazooka still has to make her initial pass, that would have been a great opportunity for Mars to do so. However, that solid Dallas wall in the front, unrelenting,
formidable
basically
defense.
brought the pack to a complete standstill in the straightaway before turn 3. So Rocky grabbing 3 points on that last jam, but hey, 3 is better than none. Slowly chipping away at that point differential, which currently stands at 62.
And like you said a minute ago, Scarlett, Rocky Mountain had been scoreless for some 14 jams. So at the very least, they've broken the streak of scoreless jams. Hopefully a turning point for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls.
Absolutely. That momentum shift can come from any jam at any time from any jammer. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, we see a few players heading to the penalty box. Jet is your jammer for Dallas. Harper, the jammer for Rocky. And speaking of momentum shifts,
that's right. Harper Bazaar, now your lead jammer. And Jet completing her initial pass. Harper hopefully going to be able to pick up a few points here before Jet rejoins the pack. Looks like it's going to work out. Harper quickly making her way through that pack and going for the call off before Jet can re-engage.
4 points for Rocky, shutting out Dallas there in Jam 20. Seems like we are having a bit of a different start. Whole pack up near the pivot line as opposed to a scrum start. And as soon as I say that, they start moving backwards.
That's always how it goes.
Just like if the penalty box were empty, it's not. Someone would inevitably go. But speaking of inevitability, it's inevitable that we have 2 new jammers out on the line. Kay Carnage is the jammer for Dallas. Ripon Rooster for Rocky.
Looks like our players coming out of the penalty box are trying to help or hinder that back set of blockers. Although the pack does appear chaotic, it doesn't look like any jammer got free as a result. Kay Carnage pushing forward, causing players to be too far from the pack. They have to yield, and one of those players going to the penalty box.
That is Dickey from Rocky Mountain. And we have chants going on in the back of the building.
I'm not exactly sure what they're saying, but there is excitement.
Something with 2 syllables. We have headphones on, so it's a bit hard to hear very clearly. But Kay Carnage is excited regardless. She grabs 5 points on that pass. And we have a star pass. Once again, Make You Pay taking over as the jammer of record for Rocky right before it is called off.
Looks like we're going to take a timeout. Rocky Mountain Roller Girls calling this timeout. Or is it an official review?
It is an official review. I'm curious to see if they're using this as a timeout or if they're challenging something. Looks like on that last jam, Dallas actually came away with 9 points. Rocky held scoreless, but this official review brought to us by
Bont. Bont, lighter, stronger, faster. It's the original carbon fiber boot.
We want to thank all of our sponsors here this weekend at Clover Cup 2018. We are about 90 seconds away from the conclusion of the first half, but we are currently in an official review called by Rocky, and it does look like there's an actual item being contested on the track, not just burning it as a timeout. So we will let you know what is going on as soon as we know something.
That's right. While we are hanging out in this official review, I'm going to hit you with a few jammer statistics. Our top 4 high scorers in this game are from Dallas. Of course, they are in the lead, so it's to be expected. Bailey Wheat, 4 out of 4 jams, 100% lead. Kay Carnage, same, 4 out of 4 jams. She has been the lead jammer in all of them. Bailey Wheat currently has scored 37 points. Kay Carnage, 30. Zuka Bubblebum, 16. Jet, 10. The next highest scoring jammer, Mars Curiosity of Rocky Mountain, has only scored 6 points. Rocky Mountain really getting shut out from scoring points in this contest. Looks like we're getting some news about our official review. Scarlett?
Black, i.e. Rocky, was contesting the penalty call on the direction of gameplay penalty, but because there was no relative position gained, the call will stand, so they will lose their review for the half, and we will move right along into jam number 22 here in the first half. Who are our jammers, Rosetta?
Looks like we've got Jet out there for Dallas, and Jet is out there as lead jammer, racing away from the pack. Morphine for Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, not far behind the pack as well, speeding up, coming out of turn 4.
They are full out sprinting. Like, speeding up is not the accurate assessment.
It's not even pack speed. It is racing speed.
Yeah, this is like I'm doing my laps test and I'm sprinting around the track.
They're determined to hit 27 laps in 5 minutes.
Well, I think they probably did in about a 2-minute period. But anyway, we had 1 point for Rocky on that one, despite Dallas grabbing the lead. So Dallas held scoreless.
The race did not pay off for Dallas in this jam.
Well, Rocky was in control of that race. They were up front. They were controlling that speed, and Dallas just went right along with it. So
choices.
There's that fine line you have to walk. Now, this is a different defensive position right out of the gate. Dallas lined up with a 3-wall at the jam line and had one of their blockers positioned out in the front to break up that Rocky Mountain wall. However, it does not seem to yield the result they were hoping for, as Mars Curiosity from Rocky is now your lead jammer.
Very interesting that we saw a slight adjustment, but opposite impact rather than what was intended. Mars Curiosity scoring some points. That's a high 5 points in the air and for Rocky Mountain.
Now we see the first star pass for Dallas of the game. Anita Riot taking over as the jammer of record for Dallas.
Mars Curiosity looking for instructions from the bench, kind of asking, should I call it off? Bench is telling her to run it and catch that jammer, get in front.
The period clock has expired, and Rocky is at a 4-2 pack disadvantage. Anita Riot just broke through for 4 more points for Dallas. Mars Curiosity sent to the inside and calls it off before a second scoring pass from Anita Riot, and it looks like 2 points on that last pass for Mars. Total of 7. Dallas coming away with 4. So we're going to head into halftime, and my goodness, what a first half.
Quite a half. Our score sitting at 27-90. Dallas Derby Devils leading by 63 points. All in all, quite a few points to be in the lead, but not insurmountable. It's only 90 points for half a game.
Absolutely. And if we look at some of these jammer stats here in the first half, the highest scoring jam of the first half was by Bailey Wheat. It was 14 points that she grabbed in that high scoring jam. She is also the leading point scorer still with 37 of Dallas's total 90 points. She's followed by Kay Carnage with 20, Bazooka Bubblebum at 16. And then we switch over to the Rocky side. Mars Furiosity with 13, Jet with 10, Dicky with 5, and we have several other jammers that follow in single digits as well. So we're heading into intermission. We are going to take a quick break. We will be back in about 7 minutes with some additional information for the exciting conclusion of the third place game here at Clover Cup 2018. I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And we'll see you shortly.